All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something pretty profound, a real modern crisis of connection. We're going to dive right in and contrast the messy, incredibly beautiful reality of human psychology with the algorithmic illusion of artificial intelligence. So here's the big question we really need to start with. Is AI a cure for loneliness, or is it, honestly, its absolute biggest trap? Technology offers this incredibly easy escape from social anxiety, but instead of actually bringing us together, it really might be pushing an entire generation just further and further into isolation. To really wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this, get a load of this stat. 60%, 60% of men aged 18 to 30 are currently single. I mean, that is a massive, massive portion of the population trying to navigate a world where traditional socializing has just radically shifted. And it goes way deeper than just romance. 1 in 5 young men report not having a single close friend. Literally zero. We really need to approach this with deep empathy because we are facing a literal epidemic of modern loneliness, where millions of people just feel completely isolated. It's not just a lack of dates, it's a fundamental lack of human connection. So how exactly did we end up here? Well, psychologist Jonathan Haidt's research highlights this huge historical shift. Think about it. For basically 200 million years of mammalian history, we had play-based, outdoor childhoods. But then, right around 2010 to 2015, boom, the phone-based childhood emerges. This incredibly rapid shift actually stunted our capacity to form real-world relationships. And that exact void, that's what paved the way for the present day, the explosive rise of the AI girlfriend and virtual companion. Okay, let's take a step back and define what we're actually dealing with here, because these are not real beings. An AI companion is a virtual entity powered entirely by pattern matching algorithms. It offers interactions based purely on zeros and ones. It's basically reading your data, remixing it, and spoon-feeding you exactly what you want to hear. But there is absolutely no genuine sentience behind that screen. None. MIT professor Dr. Sherry Turkle hit the nail right on the head when describing this psychological trap. She says AI offers the feeling of intimacy without the demands of reciprocity. Essentially, an AI companion gives you the total illusion of a relationship, but completely strips away the messy, scary, but, absolutely necessary reality of human friction, compromise, and mutual effort. You get all the comfort with absolutely zero personal growth. Because let's be real, there's a massive biological gap here between our minds and these machines. The human brain, it operates on roughly 86 billion neurons. It learns through rich, lived experiences and context, and it's deeply driven by hormones like dopamine and oxytocin, the stuff that actually makes us feel genuine love and attachment. AI is just driven by zeros and ones. It needs millions of static data points just to mimic a simple pattern. Human connection is built on a shared soul, not just remixed data. If you break it down, the differences are just stark. Take memory, for example. Human memory is beautifully selective. We actually have to forget certain things in order to heal, to process our grief, and to move forward in life. AI, it has unlimited storage. It endlessly hoards data without ever feeling the emotional weight behind it. When a human friend comforts you, that's genuine, heartfelt empathy. When an AI says, "I'm sorry," it's literally just a scripted, simulated response triggered by a keyword. So relying on AI for romance? It's essentially a dangerous band-aid. By constantly avoiding conflict and rejection, it entirely stunts your real-world emotional development. And because the bot is literally programmed to agree with you 100% of the time, it creates wildly unrealistic expectations for dating. It alienates users from actual human beings, making the real world feel way too intimidating. And researchers are noting that in severe cases, it can actually lead to deep depression and manipulation. Right, so how do we actually break out of this cycle of fear and isolation? The sources point to using our intellect to override our emotions. There's this brilliant story of a girl who was forced into a rigged draw where she had to pick from a bag containing 2 black pebbles. She absolutely knew it was a trap, but instead of emotionally panicking, she used her intellect. She intentionally dropped 1 pebble and then demanded they look in the bag at the remaining black pebble to prove the one she dropped must have been the winning white one. We have to use that exact same intellect to outsmart our own dating anxiety. When the panic sets in, logic is your exit strategy. There's also this incredibly powerful historical concept of burning the boats. The story goes that a king once landed his army on enemy shores and immediately ordered his own ships to be burned. His soldiers had literally no option to retreat. They had to fight and they had to win. If you really want to overcome the fear of real-world connection, you got to burn your digital boats, cut off the easy escapes, delete the AI apps, and force yourself into the reality of human interaction. And look, building that confidence isn't magic. It's a proven step-by-step process known as exposure training. You just start small. First, literally just ask a stranger for the time. That's it. Then, level up by giving a simple, respectful compliment. Finally, work your way up to initiating a totally normal, casual conversation. You expose yourself to these tiny, super low-stakes moments until the fear simply fades away. And once you're actually out there, social psychology gives us some great real-world tactics. First off, take the pressure totally off by treating girls exactly like you treat your normal friends. Seriously, take them off the pedestal. Maintain a little bit of suspense. Don't just give all your attention away at once. Make sure you match her investment levels so you don't overwhelm her. And finally, be completely non-reactive to teasing. It just shows you're confident and super comfortable in your own skin. Okay, but what if you try all this and you totally fail? Listen to me. Rejection is literally just a semi-awkward conversation. That is the whole shebang. The anticipation and the fear of getting rejected, it is always 100 times worse than the actual reality. The world always keeps spinning. Getting rejected is actually a completely necessary, positive step toward building your resilience. So it really just boils down to two distinct paths. You have the AI illusion. It's completely safe. It always agrees with you, but it is profoundly isolating. And then you have human reality. Yes, it carries the risk of rejection, and yeah, it requires compromise, but it is deeply, genuinely fulfilling because it's real. At the end of the day, here is the core takeaway from all of this. AI is a magnificent tool. It's absolutely incredible for processing data, assisting in medical diagnoses, boosting our productivity, all of that. But technology simply cannot replace humanity. True connection requires shared experiences, real hormones, genuine empathy, and the absolute courage to be vulnerable. It requires a heart. Which leaves us with one final, pretty massive question to ponder today. Knowing the psychological traps of virtual companionship and the profound rewards of genuine human bonding, are you going to choose the algorithmic safety of the screen? Or will you log off, step outside, and choose the beautiful, messy risk of reality? The choice is entirely yours.